Hey guys, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and this time we've got the pleasure of watching Boss playing in the Tier 8 Soviet Premium Heavy Tank, the KB5. Now I'm featuring this channel today because it's available in the Advent calendar, but not only that, because it is also probably one of the most hilarious tanks to play, to just go absolutely wild in. And it looks like Boss certainly does go wild quite often in his KB5 because he has 3 marks of excellence on it. So the KB5, what is it? It's certainly not going to be winning any beauty pageants, that's for sure. This vehicle was removed back in patch, I think 7.5 from the premium shop. It used to be available for only 7,500 gold. And it has preferential matchmaking as well, meaning that it never has to meet tier 10 tanks. It is also ridiculously heavily armored. It has 180 millimeters of armor at the front, 150 at the side, although it does have some weak points that players can take advantage of. Let me highlight them for you. If it wasn't obvious, this big droid, this R2-D2 on the front of the tank, is 140 millimeters thick, and it's rather fat and flat. And the radio operator sits directly behind this as well, and that's where the meme comes from that a KB5 radio operator always dies. Also, if you can't see the R2-D2 for whatever reason, you can take advantage of the cupola on top of the tank, which I believe is 150, yes it is 150 millimeters thick, so slightly thicker than the R2-D2 on the front of the tank, but still visible when he's using his turret to peer over ridgelines. Now the KB5 is surprisingly good for a tank with preferential matchmaking for a variety of reasons. Number one, it is the most healthy tank at Tier 8. There is no Tier 8 vehicle that has more health than the KB5, with the KB4 and the OHO slightly behind at 1,700 hit points instead. Also, the KB5 is the third heaviest tank at Tier 8, after the OHO and the KB4. I nearly say KB5, that'd be a bit silly. There are also many other great things about this tank. How about 7 degrees of gun depression, which is awesome for a Soviet vehicle. And also a great top speed limit of 40 kilometers an hour, which makes it absolutely hilarious for going down slopes. Talk about going slopes. It looks like that Cromwell is kind of going down slopes a little bit wrong, but the FV4202 actually just put him on his back on his tracks, so he's going to be able to engage him. Bit of a misplay there by the FV4202, and he's going to pay for it dying to the ISU-152. The tank also has, and this not a lot of people will realize this, the third highest DPM of any Tier 8 medium or heavy tank. That's right, it only falls short to the OHO when it's using the 105mm AP gun, and obviously the Object 416, which is kind of more like a tank destroyer or a Tier 9 medium tank gun. And so a lot of people can get surprised by that on the KB5 that does pick apart its opponents fairly quickly indeed. Of course, if it manages to get to them, because it is a fairly slow lumbering beast with poor track traverse, although its power to weight ratio 12, not too shabby, and its ground resistances are also remarkably good. When this thing does get up some momentum, it certainly can use it with that great top speed limit. So, Boss has flanked around here. His team aren't doing very well though, down by 5 vehicles, but he's about to start to go to town on the TVP VTU. You might have also noticed that Boss didn't really penetrate many shells up until this part of the game. Is he going to get his first ram kill? Yes he is, there you go. Ram kill number 1, KB5s pick them up like they're free. But the reason why Boss hasn't penetrated many tanks so far, even that FV4202 that he was firing at, is because this tank has abysmal penetration. Absolutely, oh look at that. A Scorpion G, that's one of the newest premium tanks, bouncing off one of the original premium tanks. The KB5 has absolutely awful penetration, 167 millimeters. That is atrocious considering that many Tier 8 premium heavy tanks that are coming into the game now, such as the Patriot, have got 230. The Scorpion finally able to penetrate, and look, he fires an APCR round. Unhappy with the 246 millimeters of penetration bouncing off the KB5, he has to load pretty much 300 to be able to go through this tank. And this is where the KB5 is just awesome. We've got mid to low tier medium tanks just ricocheting off your armor. The T-3485 finding a shot into the back there, and that's because the bum of the KB5 is actually rather strong. Well, at least on the lower plate here. But if you do shoot the upper plate here, let me just highlight this. Never, 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 never shoot the mid plate of the bum of the KB5 or the lower bum, because it's just going to ricochet all day long. Ram kills galore, there we go, ramming a VK302D to death, and then shotgunning the T-3485 Boss certainly living up to his name. Now he's going to make his way back to the cap circle to be able to look after it from the Black Prince. Although Boss has taken a bit of a beating so far, I'm not exactly sure how he lost all of those hit points. I guess it was from the Scorpion, probably a little bit from the Crusader SP as well. He'll be trying to bring back this Soviet behemoth. So really, the KB5 just has so many good things going for it with its preferential matchmaking. And there's also one thing I should highlight. It is cheap as chips to repair. And as long as you don't dip into the APCR rounds, like Boss is doing now, then its ammunition is practically free. And you can make full tier 8 premium profit in this tank. It can be one of the most lucrative tanks to play. Type 64 trying to flank. Great shot there into the tracks. Will we be seeing the third ram kill of the game? Not quite, as the Type 64 repairs to get out of the way. But look at that. Even brushing alongside the KV5, taking away hit points of the Type 64, unable to go through the tank. Even when you angle this tank backwards towards your opponents at 45 degrees, the vehicle is absolutely awesome. Unless, of course, they hit the upper bum at the back. Definitely aim for that if you do have a KV5. Shutting down the Black Prince. I'm not sure if that was with an APCR or an AP round, but he had so much of his side armor, he probably could have gone through with the AP round. Now, the KV5 is one of those tanks that I really don't feel too bad about using a copious amount of APCR rounds on, because your penetration steps up from 167, which as we mentioned was abysmal, to 219, and it quite often is completely necessary to be able to do any damage to your opponents. For example, KV5 versus KV5, unless you can hit that radio operator inside the front droid, it's pretty much useless to be firing AP rounds against your opponents. And there's many other tanks as well. What are you going to do against an E75, for example, with 167 millimeters of penetration? So, Boss starts off his Kolobanov's attempt in a 1 versus 5 by shutting down the Skoda T25, who looked a little too confident there, following it up with a kill on the Cromwell. But as we saw, he's also going to have to deal with the Tiger II on the enemy team, who is very healthy indeed. The Tiger II only has to penetrate Boss twice, and he also has to be afraid of the artillery on the enemy team. And so I think he's reversing here, realizing that if he stays out in the open, then the Crusader SP might remove most of his remaining hit points, or at least half of them, allowing the Tiger II to one-shot him. Boss retreats, knocking down the trees as he falls back, angling his tank, ricochets a shell off the Tiger II's hull, unfortunately, but also bounces an APCR round from the Tiger II there. So, obviously that 225 millimeters of penetration, not enough for the Tiger II, but now he's decided he doesn't want to waste any more credits and goes back to firing AP rounds. But Boss punishes him. Remember, the KV5 here certainly does have an awesome DPM, and he puts a couple of rounds into the Tiger II before he can return fire. And because the Tiger II missed with frustration, that allows Boss to push forwards and finish him off. Great result there. 4 rounds into the Tiger II, 1,291 damage in total. Awesome result. One thing not quite so awesome, however, is the fact that the artillery manages to hit Boss for 302 damage, now reducing his hit points to 304, putting him well within the one-shot range of the Crusader SP, or even within a 2-shot range of the Stridsvagn M4257 if he manages to find him. But then again, that brand new Swedish tank probably isn't going to be able to penetrate the KB5 unless he hits the upper bum at the back, or if he hits the radio operator. And that really is what makes this tank just awesome. It just trundles along, it's big, it's dumb, it's tons of fun. That's what the KV5 is all about. And they also work very well in platoons together. I remember some of the most fun times I had playing with Jingles was in the KV5. Often when we would get up some speed going downhill like this and absolutely slam yourself into your opponents. I remember ramming even higher tiered medium tanks for up to 500, 800 hit points, which can make a really nice difference to your total damage in the game. So Boss pushing into the enemy base here, trying to find where that Stridsvagn is, and also where the Crusader SP will be. Probably the Crusader is going to be hanging around just over the ridgeline, and I guess he thinks that that's where the new Swedish vehicle will be as well. He's loaded a high explosive round. The Crusader SP does have 350 hit points, and the high explosive rounds on this tank do 360 alpha damage, so he should in theory be able to kill this Crusader in a single shot. He's trying to bait out the round, but how long can he stay out in the open? And oh God, no, the Swedish tank has started to cap. The Crusader SP misses, he targets him, 326, unfortunately a low roll there on the high explosive round, and the Crusader SP bombing it his way as fast as he can, with a great rate of fire on the KV5 manages to finish him down. So unfortunately, Boss gets his 10th kill of this game, but there's no way in hell that he's going to manage to be able to make it back to the cap circle. What an absolute heartbreak here, and that sneaky Swedish dog managing to win the game and take Boss's Kolobanov's medal away from him. But still, you know what, 6,000 damage in the KB5, quite an achievement. Oh wait, what? What? Okay. The M4257 deciding that he doesn't want to cap and he instead wants to come and fight a heavy tank that's 2 tiers higher than him. That is a serious mistake. Or is he just that confident? We're going to have to see if he regrets that very soon, but at least he knows where Boss is. Now Boss sets up in the cap circle, definitely the most sensible thing to do here. He's got pretty much no chance of finding the M4257 on the enemy team. And it looks like he's looking round to find an opportunity perhaps to run away right now. Is that why he would be looking over there? Or maybe he was just interested in the architecture of the building. Surely he must be thinking that the Stridsvagn is either making his way along here or alternatively along here. I don't think he'll have enough time to be able to go up and around along the northern loop on this map. So Boss sets up. I guess he's thinking that the Stridsvagn might be coming up there. I think he's starting to get a little bit paranoid now. Come on, it's just a tier 6 Swedish tank, but where is he going to be coming from? Then again, in theory, if that Stridsvagn does load some APCR rounds and makes it into the bushes up there, the 200mm of penetration should be enough to go through the side of the KB5's turret reliably. 45 seconds left on this game. It's nail-biting stuff right now for Boss. He can only take 2 shots from the autoloader, so it's only going to take that Swedish tank 2 seconds to be able to kill him from the first shot. Of course, if he manages to penetrate. And we don't know how many hit points he's on. The fact that the Stridsvagn is on 1 kill must mean that he's slightly wounded, but oh gosh, he's not. He comes around the corner, massive mistake, but it's a terrible low roll. Boss doesn't hesitate at all, pushing straight towards him. And we find out that the M42 is indeed firing AP rounds. Boss can hopefully use that to his advantage, that he's ricocheted too. He should be able to take at least 1 more hit, maybe a couple more hits. Looks like the Swedish tank is reloading. Wrong thing to do. Bounce. No second bounce. He doesn't look like he reloaded. I have no idea why the M4257 only fired 3 shells there. But Boss, as I mentioned, lives up to his name, takes down this Kolobanov's medal, picks up 11 kills and a simply ridiculous amount of damage for a rather derpy, lumbering tier 8 Soviet premium heavy tank. So what an awesome round for Boss here. He picks up his ace tanker in the KV5, a Pools medal for his 11 kills, the one that everybody wants, the Kolobanov's medal for standing alone against at least 5 opponents, unsurprisingly a steel wall medal, and boy what a steel wall this was. 4,000 damage blocked, that's over 2 KV5's worth of health, as well as a cool-headed medal for surviving at least 10 ricochets in a row, and the high caliber for 6,757 damage done. That is well beyond the call of duty for a tier 8 premium tank. And holy mother of base experience points, 2,125, that is certainly some kick-ass crew training. Wow, yeah, a 6,700 double, absolutely casual, and 176,000 credits, spent a bit on ammunition, but still a cool 100k profit. And that's just what the KV5 is great for. Fair enough, it has very poor penetration, but it has the preferential matchmaking to make up for it. It might not have the alpha damage of the IS-6, but its gun handling and its DPM is so much better. And so Boss, thank you so much for uploading this on the What Replays website for the community to enjoy. I certainly did. And hopefully all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like. It really helps the channel out. And seeing how today is Sunday, it's time for another tech tree showcase. This time you guys backed up Marcel Yong, who wants to see the Chinese medium tech tree, which also got a substantial number of votes on my Facebook page as well. So if you're watching this video as it's released, come along on twitch.tv/QuickyBaby, as I'll be giving an entire rundown of the Chinese medium tank branch, culminating in the 121. And if you've never seen one of my tech tree showcases before, it's basically like a miniature tank review of every single vehicle starting from tier 1 and ending at tier 10 with gameplay following. And finally, a quick heads up that today is the last day that my t-shirt will be available on Teespring, so if you were thinking of picking one up, simply click the more info icon in the top right hand corner of your screen to go through to the Teesprings page. And a massive thank you to the 300 of you so far who have picked one up. I really appreciate it, massively supports me. Thanks very much guys. And as always, thank you so much for watching, you've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.